العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نبي تتعلم وتعلم وتذكر وتذكر ونفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة وحثر عادة الناس في كتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم والدعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير وابتغاء وجه الله ومرضات قلبه وطوابه سبحانه وتعالى. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so we're going to start now with the book of good manners, and we'll be reading from the prologue, and we'll close. Then we'll open up the next session of video, which will catch us up for today. This one, prologue, will be technically yesterday's video. Read that. It's going to be very short. And we'll close, jump into the next set, which will be chapter 1 and 2. And that will have us caught up for this up until today. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala won't be nothing obstructing me from getting a video posted for you tomorrow, which will be Monday, May 27th. Okay, today is actually the 21st day of Ramadan. Yesterday was last night was the 21st night. So it was the first night of the odd nights that we were employed by the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to seek Laylatul Qadr. All right, so a advice and a piece of advice for everybody who's here, myself included, is to, okay, tonight will be the 22nd night. Monday will be the 22nd day. Monday night will be the 23rd night, which will be another night that we were employed by the Rasul to look for the odd nights of the last 10 nights of Ramadan for Laylatul Qadr. Okay, so tomorrow night, being the 23rd night, we will again, although each night we should be offering worship, but the odd nights, every other night from now, will be a increased opportunity for you to find the blessings of Laylatul Qadr. So I'm encouraging everyone to, whatever act of worship you can engage in, whether it's reading a little bit more Quran, dhikr, offering salah, try to do a little bit more than what you have been already customarily doing for this month. May Allah grant you tawfiq to be able to have the energy and enthusiasm and the ability to do something extra. Do a little bit of extra for each one of these odd nights that are going to be coming up. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, ask Allah for what it is that you want. This is a wonderful time to have du'as answered. It's a promised time. Pray for each other. Your students on the path together. So seek the best for each other. Pray for each other and try to gain the benefit of making dua for the Muslim who is not with you, although you wish they were. Think that makes sense. Other than that, keep me in your duas, as I would try to do the same to each and every one of you, and those I think of and those who I do not think of when I make my dua. My dua is for you nonetheless, and I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed this Ramadan to be one of benefit for each and every one of us. All of us may have been caught up in doing a lot of different things with family and work and all of this type of stuff, and we may have fallen short of some of the goals that we set for ourselves. You're coming home. It's been a very trying time. As far as I can recall, everybody who's in the group is working now, so you have a lot of things that you are dealing with, whether it's with family, work obligations, or just life in general. So remember to be easy on yourself. All right, because you're not able to do something at one moment does not mean that you cannot go back and do it again at some other moment. Take control of your time to the best of your ability, and again, benefit from these last few days of this blessed month. Okay, so let's get into the prologue of the book of good manners, starting on page 47 now. So Imam Al-Haddad starts off, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. All ability and strength are only for Allah, or only by Allah, the High, the Formidable. Praises belong to Allah, who, when He wills, casts into the hearts of seekers the anguish of longing, thereby driving them to travel the path to happiness which is faith, worship, and the extinction of all formalism and habits. May Allah send His blessings and peace upon our Master Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Master of Masters, and upon his family and companions who themselves are masters and leaders. Allah the Exalted has said, "Who is more truthful than He?" This is in quotation marks. So this is a statement of the Imam. He's alluding to an ayah of the Quran, and he says, Allah Exalted has said, parentheses, "Who is more truthful than He?" which is most the truthful statement as well. Allah is the most truthful. He is Al-Haq. So the ayah of the Quran reads, "Whoever desires the immediate, we shall hasten what we will of it to whomever we will. Then we shall appoint for him hell into which he will be plunged, blamed, and defeated. And whoever desires the hereafter and earnestly strives for it, and he is a believer, these shall have their strivings rewarded." This is from the Quran, Surah Isra, ayah 18-19. The immediate, as mentioned here, is the fleeting world. Therefore, the one who merely desires this world, let alone actively pursues it, ends up in the fire, blamed and belittled. Should not a man of reason beware and turn away from it? The hereafter means the garden or heaven. It's not enough to merely desire it in order to gain it. Important statement. The hereafter means the garden or heaven, Jannah. It is not enough to merely desire it in order to gain it. It is not enough to merely desire it in order to gain it. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Everybody's not going to get there. Desire has to also be met with the appropriate mindset, and by Allah's permission, the appropriate action. Very important. So what he says, faith and good works are both necessary. Iman wal amal. Amal as-salihah, righteous action, good works, are both necessary. As is indicated in the passage, and earnestly strive for it, and he is a believer, referring back to the ayat that we just read. The strivings to be rewarded are those deeds that are accepted by Allah, thereby deserving praise and such great rewards without limits or endings, all by the grace of Allah and His mercy. The complete loser is the seeker of this world, whose end was described in the Quran. His desire for the world is so powerful that it causes him to forget and deny the hereafter. He is a disbeliever, and he will be in hell forever. The complete loser is the seeker of this world, the one who goes head first after everything in this world, neglecting prayer, fasting, neglecting sound understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there's a person of the world completely. Clothes, women, men, cars, houses, all of the things in this world, that's the only thing that actually matters to this person. It's a loser. And he continues, whose end was described in the Quran. His desire for the world is so powerful that it causes him to forget and deny the hereafter. He is a disbeliever, and he will be in hell forever. All right. Again, like we talked about before, there's nothing wrong with having money and resources, because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives it to you, alhamdulillah, this is a blessing. This is a ni'mah, something that you should be thankful for, something that you should take heed to using in the appropriate manner, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase you with it. Once He gives it to you, you have a responsibility to your family first, yourself and your family. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first and foremost, in His Rasul, but to your family, you're expected to take care of your family with what Allah has given you. You do not leave them in want, in need. Okay? Then you're also expected to go out into the world and be of benefit to the creation in whatever capacity Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes easy for you. And in some things that may be difficult for you to do, this is a good way to increase yourself with, by Allah's permission, in states of righteousness and Iman, by doing things that are uncomfortable for you, giving to people that you would not normally give to, helping people who you would not normally help, whether it's financially or physically. being just and upright with people who may not be always just and upright with you. Okay, now remember, we're talking about the book of good manners. It's going to be a little bit different than the reminders that we got, because this is going to be about us actually having a sense of responsibility from what we get from this here. Okay? Reminders and mutual reminders was more or less thinking about getting your mind focused. This is going to be working on getting you to start putting in the work that's required. All right. So again, to go back, the one who acknowledges the hereafter but does not strive for it is astray and yet another loser. The messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, "These depend on actions. Each man receives according to what he has intended. He whose migration was for the sake of Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then he has migrated. Then he has migrated for Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he whose migration is for the worldly things that he wishes to acquire, or for a woman he wishes to marry, then he has migrated for that which he has intended." Okay. The worldly things, woman, these things within the immediate general sense of what he's saying here, yes, you do migrate for these things, then that's what it was for. However, if you have good intention, sound intention, clear understanding of what you're doing, why you're doing it, these things can also be migrated for something that may be considered of this world, or migrated to get married. Could be possible that you can migrate and have these things in line with having sound intention for Allah and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But it requires you to be conscious about who, what, when, where, why, how. That's something else. We can talk about that in the chat, just to add that in there, because sometimes people get that statement and they take these things and they look at it as being all negative, and it's not always all negative. But more often than not, it is all negative because people don't think properly. Just putting that out there. The Prophet ﷺ thus informed us that one's deeds is only as valid as the intention behind it, and that people are rewarded according to their intentions. When these intentions are good, they receive nothing but good. When these are evil, they receive nothing but evil. He whose intention is good, his deed then is inevitably good. And he whose intention is malicious, his deed is inevitably malicious. When it appears good outwardly, as in the case of a man who behaves in a righteous way, only to appear righteous in the eyes of the people. Person jacked up on the inside, when he's not around people of religion and people of his community, he's a loose cannon. She's a loose cannon. They do all kind of stuff. But when they come around the Muslims, people of the community, people of religion, they're the most dignified and noble people you've ever seen in your life. They'll come in the masjid and they'll pray 40 rak'ahs before the prayer starts. And it's mashallah, alhamdulillah, all over the place. And full of crap. Don't be one of those people. May we none of us be one of those people. May Allah protect us from being from these people. Excuse me. Okay, so continuing. The Prophet also, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, also informed us that he who acts for the sake of Allah by following in the footsteps of the Messenger of God, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his reward is with Allah, who will be pleased with him and make his last abode his garden, near him and in the company of the best of his people. Those whose intentions are directed toward other than Allah and who acts as such, their rewards are with those to whom their intentions are directed, those they perform for, those who can neither benefit nor harm them or anybody else, those who will cause neither life, death, nor the resurrection. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam elected to speak of migration by way of providing an example. As it is well known to people of understanding, rules such as these can be generalized to all the laws of Islam. I now say this: know, O disciple, O seeker, who is intent on directing himself toward Allah, that when you requested me to send you some of your teachings, I found nothing ready that could suit your purpose. Therefore, I decided to record brief chapters containing some of the good manners of discipleship in an associable manner, in an accessible manner of expression. It is Allah whom I ask to benefit me, you, and all other brothers with what He will inspire in me of this matter and allow me to reach. He is my sufficiency and the best of guardians. So, with that last statement, the Imam was reminding the people that they came to him asking him to uh, provide them with something, right? Something that could provide them with his teachings or the teaching of the way of the path that they follow. And being that the Imam was from Yemen, and his time period, and up until now, it's a section of the Yemeni people from Hadramaut called the Ba'alawi. And each of these people, may Allah be pleased with them all, past and present and future, of the family, of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They're from Al-Haddad Bayt, majority of them, the vast majority of them. And they were known for being very spiritual-minded people, people of the Tasawwuf. And the people wanted to be able to have a small treatise from the Imam to help guide them on this path and being the best disciples and followers that they can be so that they can gain the maximum benefit from the teachings. And this is what he's going to be laying out here, being that there was nothing really written at the time, because one of the things of the Ba'alawi people is that they didn't really write. Imam Al-Haddad was probably one of the more prolific writers among them. There was some that followed behind him, but there was nobody that ever really wrote from amongst their tradition. Their tradition is oral tradition. So you can go to Yemen right now to Tarim and Dara Mustafa and I think it's Dara Fatima, I think, for the sisters. And they have a very vigorous curriculum that they follow and teach there for the Shafi school. I believe you can also go there if you're from another madhab and read books from your school, but the core of the foundational books and the books of tasawwuf that they'll read will be primarily from cross realms, but the fiqh will be from the Shafi school, Ash'ari Aqidah, etc., etc. But in general, you can go there and you can come back very well grounded if you go there and you're serious about study. It's one of the places that still remain that you can do this. Although there's a lot of trouble going on in Yemen and even within that area, but it's not as serious there. Allah has preserved that area from having too much trouble. So we're about to get into the chapters. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.